Attention, 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 attention. Why you hoes ain't tell me that Tammy Terrell was punching on a James DeBrand? Well, hello there, love bugs. Hello there, bellas. If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share to Facebook, subscribe, and visit uptopbeauty.com. Today's looky would be our Michelle Red Lippy. Ooh, I think all the lippies are still on sale for $10. And if you are not already a part of our book club, please hit the Patreon link below and or the join button here on the YouTube. And for a small monthly fee of $5, you babies, yes, you can be privy to all the shenanigans before the YouTube gets it, if the YouTube gets it. Now, let's continue talking about Marvin Gaye's Divided Soul with David Ritz. No one was prepared for the Supremes, Marvin said. It flipped Barry out. Like he was playing the slot machines in Vegas and 3 cherries came up 10 times in a row. He was gone. The rest of us felt his interest turn. Professionally, he turned towards the Supremes. And romantically, he hooked up with Diane. Everyone saw it coming. I was definitely aware of being jealous of Diane. She had a power I lacked. Yeah, it's called the pussy. Before we go further, let me just break this part down. Marvy Pooh, you do know that you got a pickle, okay? And there is nothing in the universe to say that Bird Gordy was a gay man or bisexual man or poly man or, you know, whatever the case may be. Never, ever, okay? Because one thing we do know about the Berry Gordy is that he collect the bitches. When you are jealous of the fact that Berry Gordy is showing a female more attention, it make me think this nigga is really crazy. He is really childish in his spirit. We know that Aries, okay, and some of y'all want to fight me. Hey, I'm not childish. Yes, you all are. You and Sagittarians have issues with maturity. Now, it's not a problem because that means every time I hook up with my sister, who's an Aries, we gonna have a good motherfucking time. She had a power I lacked. I had Anna to talk to Barry, but Diana had Barry himself. For years, I was obsessed with Diana's stardom. I resented the attention BG lavished upon her. See, girl, oh, what is going on with you? So we all love Marvin Gaye, okay? We love the Marvy Pooh. We do. Okay, when he all sweet and tender and gentle. Oh, but today's video, this video is for Taco Me Marv. But how could I blame him? The Supremes were making him a fortune. Besides, with Diana's drive and class, he knew this was only the beginning. You can't handle that. I knew it was only a matter of time before Diana would get what she wanted. I watched her consolidate her power. Any woman who gets involved with Berry Gordy and hangs in like Diana did must be made of steel. Number 2, dig this. Taco Me Marvin said that contrary to, popular opinion, Motown was not the whole house. Like, what? I ain't never heard that. I ain't never heard that Motown wasn't the whole house. Was Motown's reputation for a loose sex in the office policy justified? Yes and no. Marvin observed. Barry liked to play. And since Barry was the leader, then we all followed the leader, meaning that Barry was hunching everybody. He supposed to be the pappy. There were dozens of little affairs between this singer and that producer, but no more so than probably any other show business situation. Show people tend to be sensualist. It's not our fault. Much of what we sell is sexual, and our personal lives are influenced by that. Since Motown made party music, you'd expect that we were party people. Yeah, but I wouldn't expect for y'all to be hoes up and down the street. I wouldn't expect that, for your wife to be right there and you over in the corner trying to figure out how you going to take, one of the Supremes home with you. On the other hand, Barry was strict when it came to public behavior. He was image conscious in that way. I'd have to say he was hypocritical. When the girls went on tour, the Vandellas, Marvelettes, Supremes, he protected them like daughters. They used to bitch about it all the time. How they couldn't even meet men on the road, much less date them. Remember when we found out that Maxine Powell was the paid snitch? Barry the Gordy, Diana's downstairs with one of them. Which one was it? Which one was it? Fuck. I think it was it the Dales or the Stylistics? She downstairs getting real cozy with one of them doo-wop singers down there. Oh yeah, put her ass on the phone. They used to bitch about it all the time. How they couldn't even meet men on the road, much less date them. BG was scared the girls would get pregnant, so he did everything but put chastity belts around them. The girls were too afraid of Barry to fight back. Diana Ross fought back because when Maxine was like, here go the phone, Barry want to talk to you, Diana Ross was like, tell him I'm busy. Number 3, Marvy Pooh supports the underdog. Until he doesn't. I'd ask Holland Dozier Holland, why don't you produce Shorty Long? He was this beautiful cat who had 2 hits, Function at the Junction and Here Comes the Judge, and then got ignored. I fought for guys like Shorty and vocal groups like the Andantes, who were probably the best girl groups at Motown, except no one ever pushed them. You know why? Because Berry Gordy wanted them to stay right there so they can keep singing that excellent background. Marvin liked supporting underdogs. There were a few instances when he later helped young artists, the originals, Frankie Beverly and Mays, but ultimately his compulsive self-concern fixed his concentration on his own career and no one else's. Moreover, down deep, he was afraid of Gordy, just as he feared his own father. But to prove he wasn't afraid of their rejection, he overcompensated through senseless rebellion, provoking the very men whose love and approval be so desperately needed. That's a crazy narrative. Number 4, he was jealous of his own son, of the attention that Anna Gordy was lavishing upon their new son. Okay. The Washington Evening Star, now defunct, published a feature article on Gaye in its November 27, 1965 edition. A photograph shows a smartly coiffed, smiling Anna, new mother, and model wife. Anna and I saw that our child was a blessing. Marvin told me it was a quiet moment in the midst of a storm. Why did he name his son, who came to Anna and him in November 1965, Marvin Pence Gaye III? I was torn. I liked the tradition of naming my son after me, but I also didn't want to be reminded of my father. When Marvin arrived, I made the decision. Tradition had to be upheld. A child is a great source of joy, though I didn't realize how much little Marvin would dominate his mother's attention. I could see why father had been jealous of me. I felt jealousy rising up within me. I don't know what's going on, but when women be pregnant, that's when I believe men do their most cheating, okay? Because women be too miserable to suck and fuck on you, okay? And then once the baby get here, I mean, we need to take care of this new baby. No, you can't suck the titty because the baby gotta suck. Rather than attempts to reconcile with father, Gaye always kept his distance. As a man who loved children, Marvin was well motivated to be a good father. When I was with the two of them, meaning Pappy Gaye and Baby Gaye, in the late 70s, Marvin III was 13 then. I felt beyond the apparent tension a strong bond between them. Marvin couldn't resist teasing his son playing mind games, which were much milder throwbacks to the mental warfare introduced by Marvin Sr. back in D.C. But as hard as he tried, in the 60s, Gaye's time with little Marvin was restricted. I was still out there chasing the almighty dollar. And that's why grandparents are so important. I swear, baby. Man, if you weren't the best mama or the best pappy to your children, your second go round is always your grandchildren. And I'm going to leave it right there. Number 5. Marvy Pooh gives Smokey Robinson the side eye. I see you, nigga. While Holland concentrated their efforts on the Supremes and the Tops, Smokey turned his attention to Marvin. In 1965, Gaye had 2 hits written and produced by Robinson. I'll Be Darn Gone and Ain't That Peculiar. Oh, that's one of my favorite songs by him. Ain't That Peculiar, baby. Both gems. The songs reflect the friends' easy rapport and mutual respect. Smokey understood Marvin's light side and love for the fanciful phrase. Gaye and Robinson's friendship, though, was not without problems. Some years later, when Marvin's relationship with Anna broke down completely, he worried that Barry had turned against him. Since Gaye considered Smokey Barry's closest friend, he began suspecting Robinson's loyalty. He like this, we didn't work together. You know, we got a mutual respect for each other, but I ain't stupid. You Barry the Gordy's man, okay? You will always be Barry the Gordy's main man. Even though when we read the Smokey Robinson book, I hope they talk about the time that they fell out, okay? Or they weren't communicating with each other. But for every book that we have read, Barry Gordy made sure to take very good care of Smokey Robinson, okay? Remember when we read, what was it? Oh, shit. We read so many books. But don't forget when Smokey wasn't making any hits. He hadn't had a hit for 2 years, okay? Not only did Barry the Gordy give Smokey the Robinson a diamond watch, but when he went outside, there was a brand new Rolls Royce waiting for him. Or was it a Bentley? But in fact, we learned from reading previously that Barry Gordy almost went bankrupt trying to secure Diana Ross's career and Smokey Robinson's career. We were all moving in the same direction, Marvin said. We knew it was jive, but we wanted the money and the fame, so we went along with Barry's program. Some of the shit was outrageous. I think the Temps had to dress up like riverboat gamblers for one of their Copa shows, and the Supremes had these top hats and canes. They started taking my picture at plush country clubs as though I'd always played golf and sailed yachts. Actually, it took me longer, 2 years longer, to get to the Copa than some of the other acts. That disturbed me since I'd been the cat wanting to croon. The truth is that from the mid-60s on, the Supremes and the Four Tops were Motown's only real pop acts. The rest of us were R&B. The Supremes were the first to be big overseas, as big as the Beatles were in America. That's how big the Supremes were in England. With the right promotion, I felt I could have achieved the same success. I'd gripe, I'd walk out of the meetings, I'd miss recording sessions, I'd complain about how Barry had everything locked up, the publishing, the tours, the personal management. I'd bitch about us being slaves to the system and stir up all kinds of shit. But finally, like everyone else, I'd fall in line. Somewhere along in here, don't ask me the time or date, I lost my self-respect. Number 6, Taco Meat Marvin sought out trouble. He loved it. He craved it. He needed it. He functioned very well in chaos. Shit. And in fact, I think that if he didn't have a chaotic life, he would be bored, because with him, he needs constant attention, adoration, love, cuddles, his blankie. He need all that to be him. Authority challenged something deep within him. Not to swim against the current was to admit cowardice. Doing it the easy way was fool's work. Bored by routine methods of succeeding, Gaye required the stimulus of adversity. If there were 2 roads leading to the mountaintop, one paved and one wide, the other narrow and treacherous, Marvin wouldn't dream of taking the safe route. He'd laugh and tell you that he had to live a life close to the edge. He felt compelled to create problems, both for the attention and the drama, if none were readily available. Refusing the paved path, though, was also a matter of self-punishment. Watching Marvin, said Gil Askew, I got the feeling that he was this incredibly talented man who just didn't like himself. Yet, for all Gaye's brutal self-criticism, he was also a man of rare integrity. Among the Motown pioneers, he alone had the courage to fight the system, recognizing the dark side of the glitter and the glamour. Rather than resolving his paradoxes, however, Gaye enlarged them. He hated show business, yet pursued a show business career with singular tenacity. Attention. Taco Meat Marvin like the hoes. In this sexual obsession lies the root of Gaye's masochism. The physical pleasure he derived from painful self-denial. In his second marriage, the complex would grow to even larger proportions, with pleasure and pain more intricately confused. As he grew older, he tried to cover all these feelings with his Playboy image, the debonair gentleman sampling beautiful women as he might sample fine wine. Number 7 and number 8. Marvy Pooh ain't want no parts of Tammy Terrell, even though they sang beautiful music together. Number 8. Attention. Why you hoes ain't tell me that Tammy Terrell was hunching on a James DeBrand? Tammy Terrell had been Tammy Montgomery when she was discovered still in her teens by James Brown. Brown produced her first record, I Cried, and featured her along with the Famous Flames and Yvonne Fair in his Mr. Dynamite review. Publicity shots from the period presented her as a woman child. Kim Weston described Tammy as a free spirit, wild, raw, and beautiful. Tammy was the kind of chick who couldn't be controlled by men, said Marvin. That can drive a man crazy. Trying to deal with a woman who won't be dominated by anyone? I loved that about Tammy. I knew we could be friends, but never lovers. I'm about to give her this good Marvin Gaye loving. I crawl up off her, look at her, say, go in the damn kitchen and make me some tacos. And then the girl look back at me and say, you do it yourself. No. Independent women hold no romantic interest for me. James Brown and David Ruffin both had stormy relationships with Tammy, but mine was completely creative. I loved her. Her singing style was also perfectly suited to mine. What we chiefly accomplished, though, was to create 2 characters, 2 lovers that might have been taken from a play or a novel, and let them sing to each other. That's how the Marvin and Tammy characters were born. While we were singing, we were in love. The vibe was incredible. The emotions were heartfelt and real. But when the music ended, we kissed each other on the cheek and said goodbye. Ain't No Mountain High Enough, their initial 1967 hit, was written by Nick Ashford and Valerie Simpson, extremely talented writers who later turned into Marvin and Tammy style duo themselves. Valerie's church-rooted sense of composition proved to be perfect vehicles, just as Johnny Bristol and Harvey Fuqua were the right producers. If you looked at what happened in Detroit, common sense will tell you that Barry got the money, damn near all the money, said Clarence Paul, whose plain-spoken stances endeared him to Marvin. There was a point when BG stopped giving anyone any real money, Beans Bowes claimed. That's when a lot of folk fell away from him. I think that it was a purposeful act for Berry Gordy to leave Motown and leave Detroit and go to California. Either you're going to sink or swim. Are you going to come with me? Okay, you can come with me, but if you don't, I really don't like you anyway, because you don't show that tenacity that I need, that ambition that I need. Nonetheless, Esther Gordy Edwards contended in a speech I heard her deliver in Detroit that many individuals working at Motown became millionaires on their own. Bullshit. The Baker Man. Basically, what it is, we handed you the keys. We handed you the tools. You need to be working on your own career. I mean, they say that a lot in the celebrity world, that basically, I can't hold your hand. You need to jump out there and you need to do some things for yourself, like maybe opening up a business, like becoming a producer, finding your own groups, something like that. That's what Berry Gordy felt. And if you're not strong enough to do that, then we don't want you here at Motown anyway. Okay? That's what I feel. That's not what the book say. That's what I feel. The whole reason Holland Dozier Holland walked out in 1967 was money, Marvin said. Given their contribution to the corporation, they didn't feel as though they were sharing in its real wealth. Lots of us felt exactly the same way, and an exodus began. Mickey Stevenson and I got out in 1968, Clarence Paul remembered. Naturally, Mickey took Kim Weston with him, Gladys Knight, and the Pips left. Motown never did right by them, and so did a whole lot of other acts like the Isleys, the Spinners, and the Tops. Down deep, Marvin felt, I'm a fiercely loyal man. Maybe if Motown hadn't been a black business, I'd had left. For all my bitching, though, I believed in the company and what Barry was fighting for in the white man's world. Besides, Motown was all I knew. Motown made me. Anna and Barry kept me together, at least as far as business. When I didn't want to record, they knew how to get me to the studio. So what we know, okay, that Anna, even while Taco Meat Marvin was married to Janice, Marvin still relied on Anna. Matter of fact, Marvin Pooh and Janice relied on Anna to get his ass up out of the bed. They'd send me over, said Clarence Paul. There was only one sure way to get Marvin Gaye to record. Go over to his house, throw his ass out the bed, and take him down to the studio. In the period I watched Marvin record, I never saw him sing when he wasn't high. That would be number 9. Marvin Pooh don't sing if he ain't high, okay? And 10, it was plenty of drugs around there in the Motown. There were lots of drugs around Motown in the early 60s, said Clarence. Just like there were lots of drugs around any black neighborhood. Marvin and I did our fair share of cocaine beginning in the early 60s. We were into it early on. Other artists like Stevie hated this stuff. I've been tooting, Marvin told me, referring to cocaine for a good 25 years. That was an exaggeration. He made the statement in 1982 in Europe after I'd witnessed him castigate his coke dealer for selling him impure stuff. I consider myself a connoisseur. I'm passionate about good cocaine. Good cocaine and bitches. I'm passionate about good cocaine, said Gaye, who had never experimented with the drug in the 50s. Marvin's nasal membranes were funny, Clarence remembered, and he couldn't snort as much blow as some of us. He'd get a freeze by rubbing it over his gums, and then he'd eat it. I'm telling the truth. He'd eat it. Attention, 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 attention. Marvin Gaye eats booger sugar. The most deadly thing about cocaine, Quincy Jones told me, is that it separates you from your soul. I like the feeling, Marvin admitted. No one will ever tell me it's not a good feeling. I mean, I ain't never do that shit. I do understand when he says it's a good feeling and nobody can tell me otherwise. You know why? Because from time to time, I will eat a cookie. Blink. My heart was broken. My own marriage to Anna had proven to be a lie. In my heart, I could no longer pretend to sing love songs for people I couldn't perform. When Tammy became ill, I refused to sing in public. After a number of operations spanning 3 years, Tammy Terrell died in 1970. The process was agonizing for Marvin and ironic because their songs recorded before her illness continued to ride a crest of national popularity. Their first album, United, released in 1967. The second, You're All I Need, a year later. And the third, Easy, in 1969. Was the last album recorded before or after Tammy's becoming ill? I asked Marvin one night in Belgium. Tammy didn't do most of the last album with me, he said. She wasn't able to sing. I don't understand who sang the female part. Gaye looked away from me and remained silent. Seconds ticked by before he sighed and asked me, "Do you have a copy of that album?" I did. We began listening to the duets. Listen carefully, he urged. Listen to the quality of the female voice. It's a close, but it's not Tammy. Who is it? Care to guess? Not fond of guessing games, I pressed him to reveal the singer. She's a wonderful musician who also wrote most of these songs. Now, do you know? Listening again, it became clear that Valerie Simpson was doing a remarkable, skillful imitation of Tammy Terrell. Only a slight nasal exaggeration of Tammy's style provided a clue. At first, I refused to go along with the plan, Marvin expanded. I saw it as another money-making scheme on BG's part. I said it was cynical and wrong. I didn't want to deceive the public like that. Then Motown convinced me that it be a way for Tammy's family to have additional income. Valerie had sung many of the demo tapes to teach Tammy her songs, so she was a natural choice. No matter how good the music was, though, I felt strange singing to Valerie. I supposed I felt guilty. If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share to Facebook, subscribe, and visit uptopbeauty.com. Now remember this, the same people that you meet on the way up will always be the same people that you meet on the way down. My naysayers, my patron loves. You babies, have a good one. Peace.